If you are playing a buzz where you have like, let's say 3 in one hand and like 5 in another hand, the one with 5 is going to have more compressed sound within the same amount of space as the 3. So you're going to have an uneven buzz roll. We don't want that. What we want is for your hands to be nice and even. I worked on 3 strokes by doing that and then doing both together. And the reason for that is because you want to hear that popping sound so you can hear that your hands are even. Because you don't want to have like a flam sound with your 3 strokes when you're working on it, because then you'll play with a pulse, have a slight little sweep from the outside of the drum to the center of the head. And the reason for that is so that you play the loudest note of the controlled bounce on the softest part of the head, or softer part, and the quietest note of the controlled bounce on the loudest part of the head. So it actually makes it so that you have a very even sound. I was extremely skeptical with this because I was like, why would I want to play concert snare with like my hands kind of sweeping with the 3s, but it sounds so much better. If I played concert snare with it flat like this, my wrist is already bent. But if you play at an angle with the drum a little bit lower, your wrist has more motion. Instead of being here, I get this extra wee bit of motion that I can get out of it, so I can get more power out of it. Even though like the sound is going towards the back of the stage, you get way more power behind it. So that's something you can do with like concert snare if you want to. You don't have to though. You do you. Right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. And that's going to slow you down in the long run, especially as you start to go faster. Right, left, right, left, right, right. Like, good luck doing that. So what you instead need to think of is the larger groupings, and think of the chunk rather than individual notes within that chunk. So don't think right, left, right, left, left. Instead, what you need to think is right, left, 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 or even just right. Think of 2 groups together, etc. Sometimes it's good to just take a break from like the grind of practicing and like refining things and just like spend an hour or 2 just having fun, just making music. I've seen way too many people burn themselves out through schools of music because you're just focusing on pieces of music that you don't necessarily enjoy, and you always expected to perform better every single time that you are in a lesson. And you're constantly comparing yourself to people who might be significantly better than you. Like if you're an undergrad, well, guess what? You might have some master's and doctoral students, and then some professors who are all going to be like significantly better. And you forget of the fact that maybe they've been playing for a decade or 2 longer than you. And so that kind of like makes you just want to keep practicing more and more and more and more. If all you do is focus on that stuff that you are doing for other people, like for a recital, for a professor, like if they want you to learn a piece, like you will get burned out. Most of the people that I know who went to a school of music have in some way left music as a career, as a profession. My freshman year in a theory class, he's like, look around and you're going to see like a quarter of the people who are here will be left by the time you were a senior. And he was actually right. The majority of people that I knew in the school of music were gone because it's just like, it can be that difficult. There's some studies that show that like people who are in schools of music have higher rates of depression and like just anxiety and whatnot because of the amount of pressure that you're constantly on. It's like one of those things where like I can describe it, but until you're there, like you just can't really feel that level of tension that can be involved with that constant drive for needing to practice all day long, every single day, and that what that kind of pressure can do to you. I made it through my undergrad, my master's, my PhD. I made it as far as you could possibly go, but there was some cost involved with that. I had to definitely go see a therapist to be able to help me process a lot of the mental stress and whatnot that you go through when going through like a school of music. So I'm glad I did it, but it was not easy. Thank you. I'll be here all day. So you'll notice that I put my hand on the pad. In the school of music that I went to, they had us acknowledge our instrument so that whenever we would bow, we'd put your hand on the marimba and whatnot, and you'd do like your little bow. It's such a goofy little thing if you think about it from like a outside perspective. Oh, wow. I'm so glad they acknowledged their instrument that they put their hand on it. Okay. Musicians, we're weird. What can I say? When practicing with any of these thousands of free play alongs or with your metronome, one of the things that you can do is set the volume so that it's slightly lower than your actual playing. And the goal when you're practicing is to make it disappear entirely because you're playing so in sync with the play along or so in sync with the metronome. Another thing that you can do if you're using a metronome is like set it to halftime. So like set it to like beats 1 and 3 or even beats 2 and 4, make it a little funkier. So that way you're used to not just playing along with like every single partial, but also having to think of the macro tempo and being able to stay in time over an extended period of time. Once you get good at being able to do it for like 2 counts, try it for 4 counts or like even for a couple of measures. I used to do this with a drum line where I just like turn the doctor beat all the way down, turn it up every now and then, see if they're still in time, and then turn it back down again, wait a couple measures, turn it back up. It's good to be able to memorize things quickly, but in other scenarios, being able to vamp and improvise is even better, like on drum kit. Or if you're doing an orchestral pit, sight reading is way better. Every type of percussion, whether it's like playing orchestral or in the pit for like Broadway or in drumline or on drum kit, they all have things that like it's better skills to develop, whether it's improv, sight reading, memorization, etc. Figure out what it is for the thing that you are trying to pursue most and spend time working on that. Like don't refine your sight reading if you don't need to use sight reading. Focus on things that are most pertinent to the style, genre, activity that you are performing in. Do whatever you can to like help prevent the repetitive stress injuries that some people get with drumming. If you're playing with tight technique, then you need to be able to counteract that. 1, ideally, fix your technique, like play more relaxed. 2, just stretch and massaging daily, even icing. Those things can help significantly. Raising your hands will help the blood flow back down, so it gets rid of some of the inflammation. All of those things can help prevent some of those repetitive stress injuries. I was very consistent with the stuff that I was performing in drumline because that's what you did all day, every day. But there was still, it's kind of like you could zoom in on this and you could start to see all the little bumps and details of the stick tape, and then you can zoom in even further and you can get to the atom, and you can zoom in even further than that. There's so many like granularities that you can get with practicing that there's always more things to work on. There's always that little like 1% edge that you can continue to practice. And for me, that's the process that I really enjoy. I prefer practicing more than performing, even though like I'm kind of doing both simultaneously with these streams where I'm live with my practice sessions. Been playing as long as I have, like I don't care if people see all the mistakes that I make. I want to be able to talk through, here's how I'm actually working on this, or improve this thing, etc. Or, oh, I noticed that was really bad, I can work on this next time. Like, I think that's very valuable. If I was able to see somebody practice when I was younger, I would have learned, oh, that's how I can practice, so that's what it can look like. I think that's an extremely valuable skill to have, and I wish, honestly, more musicians did it. Roll timing works on check into a triplet roll, and then check followed by inverted roll, and then we 4-2-1 that. And then we have our extension, and an inverted roll starts with a single note and then goes into a roll. So pa-da-da, right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left, right, right, left, right. And it ends with a double right. You can slow it down to 20 beats a minute or go as fast as 160 beats a minute. All of the thousands of free play alongs have timestamps in the description, and you just click and it jumps you to whatever BPM you want to go to.